Do you work 2 jobs? Keep the house clean? Pay most of all of the bills? Take care of their errands? Cook dinner every night, but never receive even a simple nod of approval? Hey, welcome to the Sammy Lorette Show. In today's video, I will tell you 3 ways to spot a narcissist. Hey, welcome to the Sammy Lorette Show. The first sign to know that you're dealing with a narcissist is to know that narcissists would not appreciate anything you do to accommodate them. Narcissists want you to believe that even your best efforts are not good enough. The reason they do this is so that they can keep you looking for their approval, but never receiving it. Before long, you're doing the work of 3 people, yet not being acknowledged for it. Okay? When you first start dating them, they probably really like the birthday cake you made them last year, but now every time you make it, something's wrong with it. Or perhaps once upon a time, they said you look pretty when they picked you up for a date, but now ever since then, you can't seem to dress right. Everything is wrong. The color is wrong. The dress is too tight. Your hair, something's wrong with your hair. They don't like the nail color. They don't like the shoes. Why your eyelashes look like that? Why your makeup look off? They just judgmental. Everything you do. These cruel tactics work in ways to ensure you will be willing to do whatever they ask at moment's notice and to destroy your confidence and self-esteem. As you develop the belief that nothing you do is ever good enough. And even if you are highly successful in your professional life, have friends and family always appreciate what you've done for them, the narcissist doesn't want you to feel any pride or sense of accomplishment. Because if you did, you might realize they are using you and could decide to do something about it. Okay? You could decide to do something about it. So, if you want to know if your partner is a narcissist, this is what you do. Stop catering to their excessive demands and see how they react.
I stand here right now as a changed, humble man. I've been in a prison correctional system for 5 years now, and that is exactly what I am. Corrected, rehabilitated. I just want you to give me a chance. I won't let you down. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Chairman, if I could have just a moment.
Go ahead.
You see, I did my homework on this man. And I can tell you with confidence that he's actually quite a good liar. That fight that got out of hand, that was actually Mr. Evans flying into a murderous rage because of how the victim was looking at his girlfriend. And as a younger man, there were other acts of violence, frequently involving the attentions of a woman. And Mr. Evans fits the criteria of a malignant narcissist. Charming, highly intelligent, as you've witnessed. But malignant narcissists are compelled to prove their superiority. Everything's a seduction. And if they're rejected or things don't go their way, they lose control.
Some other more well-known malignant narcissists were Jeffrey Dahmer, John Wayne Gacy.
Now, hold on. No,
please, Mr.
Sir.
Evans, please just sit down. Please sit down, Mr. Evans.
I can tell you there's violence in this man, and his control over himself is slender. I'll let my fellow board members make up their own minds, but there are 5 families outside who are hoping and praying that we do not set Colin Evans free.
Mr. Evans, as I'm sure you're aware, to be granted parole in the state of Tennessee, it must be a unanimous vote. We'll take this up again in 5 years as mandated.
Ladies and gentlemen, that convenes the state of Tennessee parole hearings for today. Madam Secretary, you can turn off your recording device.
The second sign to know that you're dealing with a narcissist is narcissists know exactly how to reel you in. Narcissist type individuals truly do have a sixth sense when it comes to snagging people into relationships. Okay? And it doesn't have anything to do with their target status, wealth. These toxic individuals are able to detect vulnerability and loneliness in others. Generally, these states of being originate in childhood and or early adulthood and were intensified through unsuccessful relationship and
strong emotional and physical bond to one primary caregiver in our first years of life is critical to our development. If our bonding is strong and we are securely attached, then we feel safe to explore the world. We know that there is always that safe base which we can return to any time. If our bond is weak, we feel insecurely attached. We are afraid to leave or explore a rather scary-looking world, because we are not sure if we can return. People who are securely attached are said to have greater trust, can connect to others, and as a result are more successful in life. Insecurely attached people tend to mistrust others, lack social skills, and have problems forming relationships. There is one type of secure attachment, and there are 3 types of insecure attachments: anxious ambivalent, anxious avoidant, and anxious disorganized. In responses to distress, the first 3 react organized, while the last acts disorganized. To understand the theory better, let's look at Mr. and Mrs. Smith, who have 4 children: Luca, Anne, Joe, and Amy. The Smiths are lovely parents who cuddle, make frequent eye contact, speak warmly, and are always there for their kids. But one day, Mr. Smith falls very sick and dies. For Mrs. Smith, life now becomes very difficult. She spends all day working, while at the same time trying to care for her children. An impossible task. At 6 years of age, Luca's brain is for the most part developed, his character strong and his worldview shaped. The new situation does not affect him much. He knows there is still always Mum, his safe haven. He feels securely attached. Later, he turns into a trusting and optimistic young man. His self-image is positive. Anne, who is 3, has problems coping with the new lack of attention. To Anne, her mother now acts unpredictably. She is anxious about their relationship and as a result becomes clingy. To get her mum's attention, she has to raise her emotional state and scream. When her mum finally reacts with a predictable response, she herself acts ambivalent and doesn't show her true feelings. Later in life, others think Anne is unpredictable or moody. Her self-image is less positive. Her attachment style is anxious ambivalent. 2-year-old Joe spends his days with his uncle, who loves him but thinks that a good education means being strict. If little Joe shows too much emotion or is too loud, his uncle gets angry and sometimes punitive. This scares Joe. He learns that to avoid fear, he has to avoid showing his feelings, also in other situations. As an adult, he continues this strategy and has problems entering relationships. His image of himself is rather negative. His attachment is anxious avoidant. Amy, who is just 1 year old, gets sent to a nursery. The staff there is poorly trained, overworked, and often very stressed. Some are outright abusive. Amy therefore becomes anxious of the very people she seeks security from, a conflict which totally disorganizes her ideas about love and safety. As she is experiencing fear without resolution, she tries to avoid all social situations. As an adult, she thinks of herself as unworthy of love. Her self-image is very negative. Her attachment is anxious, disorganized. Our attachment is formed in the very first years of our lives, a time when we are too young to communicate our anxiety and as a result can experience high levels of stress. Then our adrenal gland, an organ sitting on top of our kidneys, produces the stress hormones adrenaline and cortisol. The heart rate increases, the blood pressure goes up, and we become alert. If that happens frequently, it is called toxic stress. Toxic because it impairs the development of a child's brain and weakens the immune system. In embryos or at a very young age, toxic stress can even switch the expressions of genes, which can affect our health many decades later. By simulating a strange situation, we can assess an attachment style already by the age of 1. To do this, we let the child play with their mother for a few minutes inside a room. Then the child is left alone. The key moment is the child's reaction when her mother returns. Securely attached children first usually hug their mother, then can calm down and eventually get back to playing. Insecurely attached children can be ambivalent and avoidant. Some can't stop crying or refuse to continue playing. The long-term effects of our attachment in the early years are well documented. Using the theory, researchers at Minnesota University were able to predict already at age 3 if a child would drop out of high school with 77% accuracy. In another study, undergraduates at Harvard were asked to assess how close they felt to their parents. 35 years later, they were asked about their health. 91% of those who said they had a rather broken relationship with their mother were also diagnosed with health issues, including coronary artery disease, hypertension, and alcoholism. For those that had reported a warm relationship, the figure of poor health diagnosis was just 45%.
The third sign to know that you're dealing with a narcissist is narcissists will give you the silent treatment. Okay, you're like, what is a silent treatment? Okay. Silent treatment works best after you isolated yourself from your family and friends. Okay? Narcissists love doing that. That's the first thing they want to do, is they want to take you away from your family. They want to take you away from your friends, and they will try to isolate you away from your friends and family as best that they can, because they don't need no kind of outside influencing you to think smart, okay? To know, because usually when you have your family and friends, most of the time, especially your family, your mom or your dad, they could, especially if you have a father, they could spot if your significant other is a narcissist or is no good for you and that's not the right guy.
They want to wake you. Because you look so beautiful when you sleep.
I tried to wait.
No, you didn't. Found these, too. You didn't even read any of these. Read that one. Not one. Not one! Hey! Hey! No! Hey! You didn't give me a chance. Huh?
You murdered a man.
It's manslaughter in the eyes of the law. It's very, very different.
And those girls? What about them?
Does he even know about me?
Who?
Huh? Do you love him? Huh? Do you love him?
Leave me
Do you
alone.
love him? Just tell me. Just tell
Leave me alone!
Just answer the question.
What?
Did you have sex in this bed?
Being ridiculous. That's stupid.
That's what's going on? While I'm in jail, you're sitting here having sex with this man. Is that right? Why don't you just tell me the truth? Why don't you just tell me?
Yes! Yes, Cully! We do it right here, in this bed, all the time, and it's great! Is that what you want to hear? Is that what I need to say to get you to just leave me alone? Just leave me alone.
I just missed you. Missed you so much. I am done!
And if your family and your friends do not like your partner and they're always nitpicking, it's not always, like in some cases, like I know that sometimes in some cases, not a lot, you have some parents who are just, you know, they don't want their kids to really have a life. You have some parents that do get jealous or don't want, you know, them to get in relationships. They block every person that they do date. But in most cases, your parents are really looking out for you. And if they don't like the guy that you're dating, it's probably for a good reason, especially if they have good reasons to not like the person that you are seeing, because they probably see some traits in that individual that you probably are not seeing at the moment because you're blinded by that individual. You're blinded by the things that they're doing for you, and you know, it's probably your first time experiencing a lot of the things that you're experiencing with that individual. So you're blinded by them because they're showing you one side of them, but everybody around you is telling you, hey, I don't think you should be dating that guy. That guy's no good for you. Or, hey, I saw your boyfriend like cheating on you with another girl like the other day, and you get mad. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, narcissists will isolate you from your family and friends, so you don't have any outside influences to realize that this guy is no good for you, and they are good at this. Okay, so once the honeymoon stage and the bombing phase, because that's what narcissists love to do when they first start dating you. They overly, they do the most when they first start dating you. They, you know, if you like flowers and candies and all that stuff, they will love bomb you, you know, take you out all the time, and, you know, do all the things that, you know, in the beginning that you really like. And like I told you, this is how they reel you in. They bomb you. They love bomb you. You know, they are like, they do everything to the extreme. Okay, so once the honeymoon love bombing phase begin, okay, it starts to decline. So everything that they were doing in the beginning, taking you out all the time on dates and buying you flowers or whatever you like, or paying your bills, or whatever it is that you are into, that they know that you're into, that they do excessively because they know you like it, they slowly decline in doing that, okay? Then the narcissist starts blaming once that happens, they start blaming the relationship problems on outside influences, okay? So if you have family and friends, they already know that your mom and your dad and your best friends don't like him. So he used that against you, okay? He's gonna use that to his advantage to make it seem like, oh, well, it's your mom, or it's your dad, it's your sister, it's your brother, it's you letting them influence us, da 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 da. But you know, this is what's gonna happen. They're gonna blame everything on the outside forces, which is your family and your friends. They're gonna make you think that it's your family that is causing him not to buy you flowers all the time anymore, and because the pressure, they don't like me, and they're gonna start crying. Like, you want to get along with their family because you're basically merging your family with theirs, and once you extend your family with them, you want to be able to at least get along with their family, or at least have a relationship with their family and know their side of the family, and they know your side of the family. But now you're in a relationship where it's just the two of you, and he's barely in contact with your family and your friends, and now it's all usually narcissists make it about them. In most cases, you're isolated to your family, but a lot of times when it comes to a narcissist family, you're not isolated from their family. So it's me all the time, okay? So they'll make an excuse to say like, well, your mom, your dad don't like me, your friends don't like me, and this and that. And then you'll start to feel guilty, and you'll start to look at your friends and your family being upset with them, and now you don't want to bring them around because it's always a thing. Yeah. So now you're isolated from your family, but here's the thing. Here's the kicker. They're not isolated from theirs. You're merging into his life, but he's not merging into your life. You're doing everything that he wants to do. You're adapting to his family traits and everything, and you're totally forgetting about your own family and your own friends, okay?